Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Sage Live of October 2024, the first of two parts of Sage Live, where we talk about paid internship at National Laboratory. Before we start, let me briefly explain what the Sage Journey is all about and how Sage Live fits in that journey. Sage Journey is a program whose mission is to inspire and encourage students to explore STEM careers for their future. We do this by offering free summer camps, paid internship, professional growth session, and many opportunities to connect with professionals who care about you and your future. Sage Live is part of the Sage Journey. It is an online gathering of students who have attended the summer camp and are curious about the next step in their Sage journey. It is also a time to reconnect with the Sage volunteers or the mentors. It is held monthly via Zoom between August and May, and the topics covered are relevant with your journey, whether it is career-related, such as resume workshop, how to prepare for an interview, how to look for internship, or new exciting topics such as quantum computing, AI, and machine learning. Today, we will talk about paid internship at National Laboratories. Remember, 2 days, today and October 19th. So let me share the slides because we have a lot of interesting things for you today. Find them.
They should be in your chat. Okay.
Yeah, and I have it. Okay. So what we're going to talk about, why an internship and helpful tips when applying for an internship. There's a lot today we're going to talk about. Lab-specific college internship. College internship from Los Alamos National Lab, Berkeley, Brookhaven National Lab, Fermilab National Lab. Okay? Don't leave if you say, okay, I'm in California and they're talking about New Mexico, because you never know. You want to have a trip to New Mexico and go and spend the summer there. So be careful and attentive to everything that we are telling about. And then there are some internships that actually every national lab is offering. And those are still in CCI, and we're talking about that too. So why you want to do an internship? Many reasons. You want to spend summer away from your parents, or you want to learn about a lot of STEM profession, insight into cutting-edge innovation and research, gain access to equipment that you don't find in the workspace, but you can find only in laboratories like accelerator, microscope, and many more scientific research that you can do at a national lab. It is good because you gain new skills. It's great for scholarship application, job application. They are paid. But especially, you learn what you like and you don't like. And the sooner you learn that, the better it is, because you might end up after college saying, okay, I'm going to try all different jobs because I don't know exactly what I like. Well, you can also experiment that before finishing college and trying different internships. Building a network is also another important reason, because you are gonna meet mentors, manager, other interns, and you start building your your professional network. So you're gonna hear a lot of information today. Many options of many internships that you could apply to. Janavi, that has done an internship at the National Labs for multiple times, is here today to give you an overview and few tips on how to actually prepare for applying to an internship, prepare for an internship, and also how to select which internship might be good for you. And with that, I'm gonna give it away to Genevieve.
Thanks, Julia. So yes, I'm Genevieve. I'm a third-year physics major at University of California, Santa Barbara, and 2 years ago I did an internship at Slack, which is this photo here, and then I also did an internship at Berkeley Lab this past summer. And these are just some tips that I learned through going through the process of these two internships. So next slide. So before your internship, there's a lot of things that you have to do. But the first thing that I would say is you have to figure out which internships to apply to. So next slide. So first you have to do a lot of research on what programs there are. The two that this information mostly applies to would be the NSF RUs and the National Lab internships. So you would want to go to the websites and pull on information from these webinars to figure out which internships you qualify for, because you may also qualify for more than one and therefore may want to apply for more than one. And the information that you need to collect about each of the internships that pique your interest would be, are you eligible? What the location is, what the application requirements are, do you need to write 4 essays, do you need to submit a CV, things like that. And then you also need to take note of the deadline. Sometimes the deadlines are very varied, and so you want to make sure to know exactly when those are. And then you also want to know what the program start and end date is. I know I'm on the quarter system and some internships are on the semester system, and so I would have to miss a significant part of the internship. So you want to double check about each program's flexibility with your school schedule. And this is just an example of what my spreadsheet looks like. Next slide. Another thing that is really important in the internship application process, which I think often gets neglected, is one, there's the obvious of you need to reach out to your letter of recommendation writers. And of course, you need to reach out to them early and make sure to follow up with them to make sure that they know that the deadline is approaching. You should also reach out to Sage, especially if you're applying to if you're applying to any of the national labs. I would recommend reaching out to your local Sage person and also the general overall, because you never know who knows who and how they may be able to help you out. I think this is potentially the most important person to reach out to, which is experienced older students. So they're the people that will actually have the time to edit your applications sentence by sentence and give you really concrete feedback about your application. So definitely reach out to them and make use of their experience having applied to all the things, internships, grad school, etc. And then also I've learned that you should, in order to be a competitive applicant, you should reach out to potential mentors that you would like to work with at the internship locations. So this means that you'll need to research the employees or faculty who are doing exciting research that you want to participate in. Another benefit is that they may have Sage affiliation or awareness, and so that might also be able to strengthen your application before you even submit it. Next slide. So there are a bunch of major components in most internship applications, and one is a resume. And you can kind of break this down into technical experiences that would be aligned with your future career, non-technical experiences like any jobs you may have had, any clubs or other extracurriculars, and general leadership experiences. In terms of how to what things you need to make sure to put on your resume, I would say that I've learned that science could be a very small world, and so if there's any people that you've worked with, you should make sure to mention the professor or whoever, since people might be able to recognize those names. For your project or whatever you did for this experience, you want to make sure that it's well motivated. Why did I do this project? You might also mention some methods. And then lastly, affiliated experiences. So for example, maybe you went to some lecture series, or there was intern events, or you went to group meetings, a journal club, things like that. So you also want to make sure to put that on your resume. And then in terms of non-technical experiences, I would say that you want to highlight transferable skills. So even if you're at a job, maybe there is an aspect of it where you showed independence or innovation or creativity in solving a problem. So those are things that I would make sure to keep on your resume. And then the next component that often show up in internships are cover letters or essays, or sometimes they're phrased as like letters of intent. And of course, you need to start early so that you're giving everyone an opportunity, like, you know, all the people that might review your application, an opportunity to review it in a reasonable time scale. And then you also need to be specific and concise about everything you're saying in your essay. It needs to be well motivated, so they need to understand like why you're interested in doing this internship. But it doesn't, you can't spend too much time on that. It just needs to be well grounded. And then lastly, you need a really strong like thesis statement. Oh, sorry. About your long-term goals. So like this is a sentence from one of the applications I submitted, which is like the blank program would be a key stepping stone towards my dream that started at the conclusion of my participation in the SAGE camp as a student. 10 years from now, I hope to be a high-energy experimentalist, uncovering the secrets of the standard model and beyond. So that's like a really strong statement that also grounds your essay. Next slide. When describing projects, here's just like a couple things that you need to make sure to check off. Some things that you definitely need to do is you should highlight your ability to do a project independently. Oftentimes these summer internship programs can go uncompleted, and it kind of becomes like not super useful for the mentor. And so oftentimes highlighting your ability to see a project to completion and being able to handle it yourself is really important. And then lastly, you also want to describe your personal learnings to help mentors match you with a project well. So for example, I might say something like, I found the blend of hardware and software to be really rewarding. So yeah, and then you want to also demonstrate your interest in program strengths. So you want to show that you've researched the internship program really well, and you understand like, wow, this lab has an X-ray free electron laser, and that's something I'm really excited to work on, and that's unique to the lab. So if you can demonstrate that you have done that research and you're really excited about their strengths, that'll also be a huge pro for your application. Next slide. So when filling out the application, I would recommend filling out the details at least a week before the deadline. Sometimes you just want to be able to understand like every single detail in the like actual application portal before it's like, you know, the day of. I'd also recommend to this end to not submit your application during classes, like, you know, in the middle of the semester. I would recommend waiting to like Thanksgiving breaks or winter breaks so that you have the actual like brain space to really like read every detail on the application and like to fill it out thoroughly. So with this, I mean that sometimes on these application portals, they say things like, if your social security number is on your transcript, you are immediately disqualified. And so you want to be able to make sure that you're reading all these little details so that you don't immediately get like kicked out of the pool, even if you're extremely qualified for that position. Another thing is that you may have to enter things manually, like you may have to put in every single class you took and your letter grade and the units. And that can be a little tedious in addition to resume details like I was part of this club, I was part of this job, things like that. So that might take a lot of time as well. Next slide. So then after you've submitted, you should feel very proud of yourself. These applications can be very long. It can be very daunting to start writing these kinds of like applications and essays. And so you should feel very like accomplished after you've written one of these applications. You should also recognize that these are very competitive internships. Like which some of them you might be competing with people across the entire country. So yeah, it can be competitive. And then lastly, you should follow up with the potential mentors that you reached out to initially, just to be like, hi, I know we talked earlier, I was really interested in your project, I've just submitted my application. And that will help them basically like pick you out a little bit more clearly. And overall, I would say that you should take applying to internships seriously. I know it can seem very daunting and it can be hard and like intimidating, but it's your career, and so you want to take it seriously. So you want to be thorough and diligent about it. And if you need any help with your applications, feel free to contact me. I've written many cover letters, lots of versions of my resume, and also many essays. So feel free to reach out. But good luck.
Thank you, Janavi. That was a very, very thorough list of tips for applying to an internship. Now you don't be scared. Now you have this slide, we're gonna share them, and you have like a lot of things, a checklist of things that you can say, I'm gonna do it so I can get selected in one of the internship. And there was a question about, can I apply to multiple internships? Absolutely. As she said, those are competitive internship. Some of them have a lot of applicants, so we strongly encourage to submit your application to multiple programs. Okay. Anna is gonna clarify a little bit what means a lot of internship available at the National Lab.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Ana Llobet, and I'm calling from New Mexico. I'm a physicist at Los Alamos National Laboratory. And my experience with students is that very often we give you all this information and it gets a little bit blurry. So all of you should know by now that there are 17 Department of Energy National Laboratories. And next, Julia, there are some that are from the Office of Science that you see on the left-hand side of your screen. You will recognize the Fermi Lab, Lawrence Livermore, Oak Ridge, and so on. There are other national laboratories that are NNSA. Next, Julia. That you will recognize, sorry, Lawrence Livermore is in NNSA, Los Alamos, and Sandia, and there are other national labs. Next, Sandia, Julia, excellent. So there are a number of internships that are applicable to all the national laboratories, and they are going to be showing at the top of your screen right now. When Julia presses the button, the SULI, GEM, you're going to see the Graduate Fellowship for STEM Diversity. You're going to see CCI program that I believe Loy is going to talk about later, and so on. Next. And there are some internships that, like the MSIPP, that are only for NNSA national laboratories. So although each national laboratory is going to be talking about their internship programs, as I'm going to do for Los Alamos, you also have overall internship programs that apply to all national laboratories and that have completely different deadlines than the ones I'm going to be talking about Los Alamos. So you need to pay a lot of attention. Look at the eligibility, look at the deadlines, because some are as soon as December of this year for next summer. So pay attention. Next. So if you're confused and you're lost, don't worry. We are here to help you deal with the anxiety of, oh my God, that seems very complicated. And I'm going to start by talking about the internships at Los Alamos National Laboratory. Next. So Los Alamos National Laboratory mission is to solve national security challenges through excellence in integrating research, development, operations, as well as we are very strong in community engagement. Next, I wanted to give you an idea of the extent of Los Alamos. Is about 17,000 people that work here, and we take about 40 square miles. 33% identifies as women. That might be something that you're interested in knowing. And every summer, we host about 2,040 students here at Los Alamos National Laboratory. But most importantly, I want you to know that 35% of the employees at Los Alamos started as students, started through the internship program, and 50% of the postdoctorates get converted into staff members. So internships and postdocs are a great way to the pipeline into jobs at the National Laboratory. Next. So here at Los Alamos National Laboratory, we have tons of internships at all levels. Those internships are paid. We have from summer schools, high school internships, undergrad, post-baccalaureate, graduate students, postmasters, and so on. This can be casual, part-time, or full-time. We have some students that start in the summer, but continue while they are in school, in college, and they do few hours a week, but they are students year long, even if they are in a different location. Next, Julia. We have internships that are technical or scientific. Someone was asking that in the chat. That means, you know, biochemistry, computational sciences, and so on, experimental or theoretical, applied or R&D, research and development. But we also have, next, Julia, we also have a non-technical or professional and administrative. So for example, human resources, project management, operations, capital projects, or things like that. So don't be shy about it. We need lawyers as much as we need scientists. We need someone to manage the information that we produce at the library, or we need people that are engaged in helping us develop community outreach programs like SAGE at Los Alamos National Laboratory. So independently of what your decision to go to college is, we have those kind of internships. You just need to ask. Next. So this is a flow chart. I thought it was great because there's a lot of information. It gives you, and you're going to have copies of these slides. It tells you the eligibility requirements for every type of internship. In high school, someone was asking how old you need to be. Well, you need to be 16 or more. You need to have a senior status. So that means the summer of when you're going from 11th to 12th grade. But for Los Alamos to be a high school student, a high school intern, you need to go to New Mexico high school. You see the undergrad and you see the grad. This is a lot of information. Pay attention to the GPA. And something that you're probably going to see in all national laboratories, because we deal with national security, is you need to be able to pass a drug test. Even if some drugs are legal at the national laboratories, it's still something that you should not, you should pass that drug test. Next. So I'm going to focus here on the high school and undergrad internships. I believe from the query at the beginning that was the more or less the range that people join for. So you need for a high school internship, you need to be, as I said, 16-year-olds, 3.0 or higher GPA. And for undergrad, so that means your 12th grade, the summer of your 12th grade, you're already considered an undergrad. So you need to have an acceptance to an accredited undergraduate program, and you have to have an accumulated GPA of about 2.75 on the scale of 4. Next. You see, though, that after you graduate, you can keep going through internships. And we also have internships for post-bac or postmasters. That means you're done with school and you can have a 2-year internships that you see over there. And this is to help you develop the skills. So how to apply here is, I put it in red so you can see. For those internships, you need to apply through these websites. It's called jobs.lano.gov. You need to say that you're a student and search through it. Of course, at Los Alamos, we also have also accept students from other internships that I mentioned about earlier, MSSIP, the SULI, the CCI, and we also have here the Los Alamos Scholarship Fund that is for local students. I want you to pay attention to the deadline. February 14th is the deadline for the internships that you show here, that I show here, that are Atlanta specific, not the other programs or other sponsored programs internship. You need to pay attention to the deadlines for those applications. Next. So we also have what's called paid summer schools. So for example, the wildfire simulation and the BEAM summer school and the summer physics camp for young women are paid summer schools. Here in this slide, you can see the stipend. You can see how long they are. And you need to apply to them in a completely different way that the jobs.lano.gov I mentioned earlier. In addition, for those students that are interested in computing, there are tons of other opportunities for computing, and that data science as well as parallel computing and things like that. This is to create a very strong pipeline in computing. These are links. So hopefully when you get a copy of the PDF, you will be able to click on the link and see where they go. The deadlines for application to those is not February. So you need to pay attention each of them, what the deadline is and what the eligibility requirements are. Next. So I like this image. Your application is one of those balls. Once you apply to an internship, is your application is one of those balls that are hanging from the wall, and your mentor is there, and there are tons of students that apply. And what you want to do is to get your mentor's attention. Next, Julia. You want a mentor to come up with your application, and that means that you need to do work. After you apply, you need to, what you heard earlier, you need to reach out to mentors, reach out to your local SAGE members. Can you press the next? Yeah, you need to research all the opportunities, contact your point of contact at, in my case, at Lano. Make sure that you apply before the deadline and be very thoughtful and strategic. Particularly at Lano, when you write a cover letter and you apply for a job and you contact a mentor, you need to make sure you share with that mentor that you are reaching out to all your information. For example, the number of the job app you applied. And most importantly, don't give up and don't surrender. We got you, and we are here, SAGE, we are here to help you find your path. So don't hesitate ever to reach out to us for help. That's it, I believe. And I think Elena is going to be talking about Berkeley Lab.
Right. Thank you so much, Anna. And thank you, Genevieve, as well, for both of you for kicking us off. I will jump in talking about the Berkeley Lab internships that we have. So first, before we jump into that, I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit more insight of who we are. Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, Berkeley Lab for short, is in the San Francisco Bay Area. We are just up the hill from UC Berkeley. We are one of the largest research facilities in the country. We've won 16 Nobel Prizes and discovered 16 of the elements in the periodic table, the ones in the bottom. And so that's usually really exciting to see that we've been a part of something that's that great. We are the home of, or not the home of, but we super emphasize what we call team science, where we put a bunch of different people and different focuses together and have people work together and not necessarily in their own little bubbles. So we're really big on that. As Anna really extensively explained, we are one of the Department of Energy National Labs, and we are funded by them, and we're managed by University of California. It's confusing. We're managed by UC, but we are not UC Berkeley. We're Berkeley Lab. And then finally, one of the bigger things is we have extensive STEM education and outreach programs. Some of the focuses that we have are the biosciences, physical sciences, computing sciences, energy sciences, and energy technology, two different things. And of course, my favorite, earth and environmental sciences. Honestly, we do almost everything but medicine. So if you're interested in any of that, any capacity, there's probably something there for you. So let's look into it. Next slide. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on the high school internship programs, and then mention the undergraduate internship programs. So really quickly, let me put this link in the chat. This is our high school programs at Berkeley Lab. All the ones I have listed on this slide are all paid. The first one that I want to talk about briefly is called the Berkeley Labs Director's Apprenticeship Program. It's getting a new name, and let me remember what it is. IPMLDS is new for me, and it stands for Interdisciplinary Pathways to Machine Learning and Data Science. So if you are interested in machine learning and data science, you are somewhere between 10th and 11th grade. This program is perfect for you. All of these, by the way, you need to be a Northern California resident for the high school ones. Once I jump into the undergraduate ones, it's a little bit different. Each one is different. So the BLDAP program is an apprenticeship program. The picture with all the people on the left, that's our BLDAP cohort. You work with about 20 to 24 students 6 weeks throughout the summer. You come in almost every day, and you get to work on a variety of different things each week, and you get the skills you need to move up to an internship program, which is why we stick with 10th and 11th graders mainly for this program. Moving on, the Q Camp is quantum computing, mathematics, and physics So if you're someone who's super into quantum, wants to learn more about computing and physics, this is an amazing new program that I believe Sandia does and Berkeley Lab has started doing in person. And it's just an amazing like 4-week program where you get to dive into quantum. What does it mean? How does it go? It's amazing. And I sneak peek because I definitely don't teach this one and I'm just like floored by what you get to learn. So I'll just throw that in there. It is a paid program, but it's like a 4-week camp kind of thing. Like you dive in, but you do get paid to do it. The next one is called ICLEM, which stands for Introductory College Level Experience in Microbiology. So this is pretty awesome. This is about microbiology. This one has really strict qualifications. So you definitely want to look in on them and see if you qualify for ICLEM. And this is definitely for students who are maybe first generation, are interested in microbiology, or they are, one of those Title I schools, like that type of program for someone who hasn't had resources in the past, doesn't have a background of people in their family who are in the sciences. This is really more catered for that. But if you do and you're still interested in microbiology, just give it a shot. Like, don't be shy, just like Anna said, just look into it and try it out. And then finally, for high school, ENR stands for Experiences in Research. And this is the traditional internship where you and maybe another student work specifically with a mentor, you work in a specific project in that area, and you actually work directly to come up with something at the end of your 6-week program. And you pretty much, a lot of students have gotten extensions in their internship. Some of them have been hired after they finish this internship. This is still a high school program. So ENR is one of our, big internship programs that can really kind of get you through the door. They're the ones that, the 35% that Anna mentioned, like you can, if you start with us at ENR, if there's a good chance that you can continue with us if you decide that you want to keep going. So definitely look into that one. I do want to say they are ENR, actually all of them, but ENR especially is getting really competitive. So we definitely look back at Jonavie's slides and definitely reach out to me. I'm your SAGE person at Berkeley Lab. And if you're like, Lena, I want to give a shot for ENR. I'm a SAGE alum from this area and I'm going to try this. Definitely reach out to me so that I can at least help you see if that mentor can look at your application and not just be a lost ball on the wall. So with that, I just want to kind of quickly go through some of these undergraduate internship programs. We have undergraduate, post-bachelor's, postdoctorate, graduate, and faculty internships once you leave high school. So we do have many. I'm going to put that link in the chat as well. These links are also right in the slides. So when you get the slides, you can click on them. But I'm going to focus on undergraduate. So CCI and SULI are programs that you are going to learn more about in a little bit. So I'm not going to dive into those too much. But we also have some that are specific to Berkeley Lab. One of them is called Grade NS, which is the Undergraduate Research Educational Academic Traineeship in Nuclear Science. My goodness. So it is the Nuclear Science Traineeship for academics. The other one is MLEF, which is the Office of Fossil Energy. So if you're interested in that, if you're into IT, we have the SCIIT program, Science IT Internship. We have the UC Global Food Initiative. I don't know enough about that one. It sounds interesting. And the Visiting Faculty Program, we do have programs for people who are already a faculty member, but the Visiting Faculty Program also works with faculty and students, including undergraduates. So I threw it in there. So again, all of these have different requirements. All of these have different deadlines. For the high school ones, I put in black. They almost all of the ones on top are going to be opening up in February 2025. So keep a lookout there. And so you really want to make sure that you're ready for that. And yeah, I think that's everything that I had. I will check the chat to see if there are any quick questions for this. But other than that, I'm gonna pass the baton to Aleida from Brookhaven. Thank you.
Thank you, Lina. So good afternoon here in the East Coast. My name is Aleida Perez, and I am from Brookhaven National Laboratory. And I wanted to share with you some of the internships that we have at the lab. Brookhaven Lab is located in Long Island, New York. So we are on the east end of the island. We are a multi-purpose laboratory. That means that we do multiple sciences, many different types of sciences, from biology, chemistry, computing, quantum, and we house about 4 user facilities here at the laboratory. And so with that, I just want to share briefly with you some of the programs that we do. We have, so we have for the high school programs, we host a program called the High School Research Program. It's a program, an educational program where students can collaborate with our scientific staff and technical engineering staff for 6 weeks in the summer. This is a program that we host mostly for local students. However, we do take students that are outside Long Island to a remote or virtual educational program. This program does not have a stipend, but it's a great opportunity to learn a lot about the national labs and kind of figure out what your likes and dislikes are. We also host a series of summer schools, mostly for some local students at the high school level on our user facilities and big data. When it comes to college programs, we do host a virtual quantum summer school. That application should open up sometime in early January, and it's about a 2 to 4 week program where we introduce we introduce skills and about the quantum science and quantum computing. We do host a nuclear chemistry summer school. That summer school happens about 6 weeks in the summer, and this all have a stipend. Our college programs will have a stipend associated with it. Nuclear chemistry summer school. It is an internship. The students that participate will get credit hours for their participation. Besides of the science, we also have a communication internship with students that are interested in ways to communicate the science that is done at the laboratory, to learn more about how we communicate, how we write, how we talk about the science that we do. That is also another internship that we have. And we do have programs that are necessary. We have a summer school, although it's not an internship. We have a mini semester program that, although it's not an internship, we do that during this winter break. And that program brings students to the laboratory for 1 week in the winter break to introduce them to the science that is not just done at the laboratory, but also at the national laboratories at large. We have a summer school on that we are collaborators with Fermi at Brookhaven Lab. And that summer school is our exchange program. We have students that comes to 20 students that go to Fermi, then 20 students that come to Brookhaven Lab, and then we switch. So this lasts about 6 weeks, and it's quite unique because it gives students the opportunity to learn about both national laboratories. That summer school focused on climate sciences. We talk about particle physics, AI, ML, and also we do a week of quantum as well. And then for those who are maybe interested in other areas, and we do actually host a summer program on non-proliferation in association with a non-proliferation group as well, to talk about policies and structure. One thing that I didn't quite forgot to add here, at Brookhaven, we have what we call our Brookhaven supplemental programs, which means that a student that may have an external source of funding might be able to come to the laboratory to do a research opportunity during the summer. We have a mechanism that allows the students to come under that supplemental program. And so we are able to host students outside of this mentioned activities as well. At Brookhaven Lab, we do not hire our interns. Our interns become students collaborators, and so that's something that I just want to point out. And later on, I will share information about the SULI program as well. So yeah, check us out. Like I said, we are in Long Island, New York, and if you have any questions in the shadow, we can address those questions later on. So if with that, I will pass it up to Cortez.
Hello, it's afternoon, everyone. Just move the slides forward. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Cortez Watkins, and I'm here at Fermilab, Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory. As the slide shares that we are located right in the western suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. We have several internship opportunities for students, high school, undergraduate, graduate, and postdoctoral and professional internships as well. So a little bit about our high school internships. Our first internship target that I'll mention is one of our oldest signature internships that has been around since the 1970s. One of our newest internships is TEX. So TEX actually provides an opportunity for high school students that have an interest in technical workforce. So if you like to do things that are hands-on, if you like to be engaged and inquisitive about things that makes anything works pretty much, it's a really great opportunity to get engaged that way. We also have our Valor GRLTC internship. And so that offers GRLTC cadets to actually intern at the laboratory and work with some of our technical professionals and our CorkNet research internship. So all of our internships will really focus on our niched area, which is physics. And so we like to call ourselves America's particle physics laboratory. And so our area that we really are focusing on is neutrino science technology and also accelerator research. One unique program that we have is called Saturday Morning Physics that we have a QR code here for the students. So it is a Saturday lecture series where students from all around actually join in to learn about the fundamentals of physics and actually get a chance to experience a lot of things about Chicago and science. So if you are interested, we have a fall and a spring cohort of Saturday morning physics. Next slide is fine. Okay, and so let's see. Okay, will all these internships be listed somewhere? Okay, great. So on to our undergraduate internships. As you can see, and I won't go over every single one of them, we have a host of internships, probably over 15 undergraduate opportunities, internships, as well as fellowships. So some of the programs that I know will be mentioned later will be CCI and SULI, but I'll go directly into our business internship program that allows students that are in undergraduate as well as graduate to be able to intern in our finance and procurement areas at the laboratory to utilize your business skills that you're gaining as a student, just to eventually apply that to real world applications. We have opportunity also with our Fermilab environmental management internship. So interns are able to actually work with our environmental management team as well as our sustainability team around different problems that we're facing in not only our society, but then also locally at Fermilab in order to make our environment a lot more environmentally conscious. As mentioned earlier, we have a unique summer school program with Fermi Brookhaven. And also we have a new project that we're working to build a detector in South Dakota. And so we have students that have an interest in the research that we're doing out in South Dakota. We even offer our Fermilab LBNF Dune Farsight internship. And I'll just go over one more just for the sake of time. We have our undergraduate internship, one of our legacy internships, also our Summer Institute for Science and Technology that's offered for all STEM disciplines. So students are able to seek out an individual mentor for a specific project. And one of the things that I like about all of our internships, including our high school internship opportunities, is that the students are working on actual projects. They're getting right in the thick of things with our scientists and our engineers and technical professionals here at the laboratory to just really figure out what's next in science. And so I think it's very exciting for the students. And as you can see probably in this picture here, that's a part of our intern day. We had over 200 interns this past summer, and they're with our mascot, as we say, Benny the Bison. And so on our campus, we're nestled at about 6,800 acres of prairie land in west suburbs of Chicago, and we actually have bison on campus. So it's very much a sight to see, because one of our earliest directors was very fond of Western culture. So next slide. Lastly, I will share a little bit about our graduate internships. As you can see here, we offer over 6 opportunities for graduate fellowships, and you can actually look directly at the QR code that goes more in detail. We provide an opportunity where students can actually take an internship quiz, where it will disseminate, if you say, hey, I have an interest in computer science, and then it will actually allow you to answer a few questions, and then it will actually will make recommendations of those types of internships for students. And so as a lot of the national labs are also partners with the graduate fellowships in engineering and science and technology, GEM fellowship, we have also been a part of GEM for many, many years, and have hosted many fellows over the years. So whether you have an interest in physics, computer science, engineering, as well as even what's really popular now, quantum research, Fermilab has a place for you. Thank you so much. And I don't know if we're going to answer questions later, or if anyone has any questions, I can answer them briefly.
We're gonna answer a question later.
Okay.
There is one more part that is
Oh yeah, sure. Go
about
right ahead.
SULI and CCI, and Aleida is gonna talk about these very interesting programs that are available at many national labs. So we have one specific part dedicated to those.
So thank you. So it's I'm back again. So I want to share with you a little bit of our DOE internship programs. Here at Brookhaven Lab, I lead the group for the DOE internship programs, and they are very valuable. And I will say that these are these can be very impactful opportunities for all of you. Back when I was very young, I participated in before it was called SULI, it was called SIRS, internship in 1991 at Argonne National Laboratory, before I went to go and to do my PhD at Michigan. So I can tell you that these internships are quite impactful, and they can be very impactful to you as well. So the Department of Energy offers 2 internships for undergraduate students, the community college internship and the SULI or CCI, and the Science Undergraduate Laboratory Internship Program, or SULI. These 2 internships are open to all STEM majors. They are internships that you can do during the summer, and the summer program is about 10 weeks. And also you can do this over this fall and spring term. And these opportunities are available, so that means up to throughout the school year. This programs require your participation, at least for the SULI program, requires your participation to be full-time, meaning you are expected to be at the laboratories, what about 40 hours a week or so. It hasn't come out yet, but for the CCI program, there will be a tad of a change. And so the CCI program will start, I believe, for this summer application process to include students that are actually at the community college institutions who are enrolled part-time. So that's a great way to understanding the diversity of students that we have in our higher education. The program, and I will go a little bit of some details of it, but in the gist of it, it requires you to have a GPA, an overall GPA of 3.0, and you have to be a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. I want to stress out that you do not have to have prior research experience to apply to these programs. The intent of this program is to give you that experience, that exposure, and for you to figure it out in many ways in your journey. What are the things that you like and what are the things that you do not like? And that is important for that. You need to be 18 years of age and 18 years and older in order to participate. In the slides, we have the application timeline for the summer of 2025. For the summer program that is coming up, that application will open on October 17, and it will close sharp at January 8th in 2025, 5 Eastern time. There is no wiggle room with this. And it's Eastern time. So if you're in the Pacific Coast, you have to kind of pay attention to that particular timeline. Next slide. So this was mentioned before, all the 17 national laboratories. I just want to let you know, and I'm not going to repeat what my colleague Lano mentioned. All I wanted to stress out that all these national labs, at least for the summer program, 16 out of the 17 national laboratories do participate in the SULI and or CCI program. So I think it's give you an idea of where the national labs are located. So I just want to take with you the message that I want to take with you. There's 17 of us. If you want to think about doing this internship for a summer program, 16 of those 17 national labs are actually participants of the SULI and CCI programs. Next slide. So just want to give a little bit information about the SULI. So I put a QR code in there. That QR code should take you into the WDTS, the Workforce Development for Teachers and Scientists webpage, and it will give you an application so you can have information about the SULI program. In the summer, that is a 10-week internship, like I said, 10-week internship, and there's an error that I have to correct. It's 10-week internship in the summer and 16-week internship in the fall and spring. It's a great opportunity for you to be an active participant in the research mission that we do at the National Laboratories. So the students that are participating in this program are embedded within the different departments and within the different research groups at each of the national labs. You get to see, cool facilities, access to great technology tools, and that sometimes you have not perhaps seen before. And we built into the SULI program and CCI as well, a piece for you to have professional developing means to network with other scientists, network with other students, and network with other national laboratories. We tend to be quite collaborative. And so you may have a mentor, let's say at Argonne, that might be collaborating with somebody at Berkeley. And through that collaboration, you get to meet others. It does have a stipend. The stipend is $650 a week, and that is for all national laboratories. Each national laboratory will have a process and how they bring the students on board. If you live 50 miles or more from the national laboratory, then you'll be able to have some housing allowance. And then your one round trip from your home to the lab is paid by the National Lab. Okay, so they're able to support you on that. You can do, like we said before, you have to be a U.S. citizen or green card holder. You have to be at least 18 years of age, and you have the minimum general GPA of 3.0. 3.0. You have to be currently enrolled as a full-time student and have completed at least one semester as an undergraduate. That means that if you are a freshman, currently a freshman, you can apply for the summer of 2025 that is coming up. Would open up in October. Okay, it's important that you check your eligibility. And I'll touch briefly of why that is. And you have to, like I said, one thing that I want to mention is that you can participate in the SULI program up to 2 years after you have graduated from college. So let's say that you are you have graduated from college and you're having a gap year, trying to kind of figure out what your next steps are. SULI it can be that program that gives you that opportunity to do just that. You can apply up to 2 years after graduation. You can apply to SULI 4 times, and you can participate in the SULI program twice. Okay. The next slide is about the CCI program. And the CCI program is has some similarities to the SULI program in the sense that there is a minimum GPA of 3.0. You have to be 18, and you have to be a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. The difference is that CCI, regardless whether it's spring, summer, and fall, is always 10 weeks. It is really triggered for technical careers. So if a student is pursuing a technical degree at a community college, the CCI internship is a great opportunity to give you an introduction or embed you into the type of technical work that gets done at the National Laboratories. And like the SULI, it's a great way to network, to build your professional network, and also great way of professional development. And I think this is true for a lot of the labs. At Brookhaven, we have HR, human resources, come in and talk about how do you put a resume together? How do you utilize or leverage the social media tools? And we have at Brookhaven, we have a writing coach that supports our students when they come to writing their deliverables. So each lab will provide some level of professional development as well. Like SULI, it has a stipend of $650, and like SULI, if you live 50 miles or more from the laboratory, there is a housing allowance or a housing provided depending which lab you go to, and it includes 1 round-trip travel from your home to the lab and back. So in the next slide, I just want to give you some ideas of the application. The application of SULI and CCI is an electronic application. So when it opens up, you can create an account, and inside your application, you can save. You don't have to submit right away. You can save the information. And so it's important that you go through the application and be able to respond to all the application questions. Once the program application closes up, there's about a 2-week period where the applications are being curated by DOE, meaning that they just look for completeness of the application. And any application that is not complete will deem non-compliance and will not move forward to the selection dashboard. So you want to make sure that you open that application, that you go through and see what is required of you, and that you make sure that you respond to all the questions that they ask you. There are 4 essays. That was alluded earlier. There are 4 essays, and they ask you that 4 essays that you have to complete. like I said, there's no prior research experience, but sometimes it asks you to explain what kind of research exposure you have. So if you had, you did a project at a class, and that counts. If you did a capstone project as part of a science a club or a science program, that counts, right? So all those pieces go into that research experience. Don't sell yourself short. What? Because remember, there is no prior requirement and research experience to apply. So anything that you did in those classrooms, classes, or with a professor can go into that research experience. The research interest. So you have to select two first choice and second choice lab. And that's what the research interest is. So when you rank your laboratories, which one is your first choice and your second choice lab, you need to explain what is it about those two national labs that is in the type of research that they do that is of interest to you. And so interest to you. So it is important that you go to each of the national, that you go to each of the national labs website, and that you read about the science that they do, the work that they do, so you can write quite an informed essay about the research that they do. Sometimes I recommend students that you can always mention a particular research that you're interested in collaborating with. Sometimes at Brookhaven, when we see that name pop up, we go to the mentor and say, hey, somebody wrote about you. Would you like to look at this applicant? So it is important. It is good to do just that. It's asking you also an essay about who you are. So that's a essay about explaining who you are. That's a piece of that the mentor reads, and it's like giving them a glimpse of who you are as a person. And your professional goals is like, what do you want to do for you, in the next 5 or 10 years? What do you want to do? I want to be a scientist. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a technical staff. All those pieces are there. We are required to submit a transcript, and you have to submit a transcript for all the colleges that you attended in the past 5 years. One thing that you have to remove is what we call personal identifiable information, or PII, birth dates, social security numbers. All those pieces have to be removed from your transcript. If they get uploaded and they are not removed, your application might be deemed non-compliant. Excuse me. In the past year or so, we have incorporated a tool in the application for both SULI and CCI that is able to catch some of this PII information, but it's only about 80% good. So, and when you upload, it might say to you, there is personal information here, please remove. But again, it only catches about 80%. So be mindful of that information that is not uploaded with your transcript, because if PII or personal identifying information is detected in your transcript, it will be deemed non-compliant and will not move forward to the selection criteria. And there are 2 letters of recommendations that are required. The application for SULI and CCI, you can input up to 3 names that can be your professors, mentors. If you're a freshman in college, perhaps a high school teacher can provide your letter of recommendation. You can upload up to 3 names. Only 2 are required. I suggest that the moment you open up your application for SULI or CCI, that you put those names in with their email addresses, because that email goes out, so you can get those letters of recommendation in a timely manner. Professors are busy, and particularly in the way the summer application timeline, it overlaps with finals and holidays and what have you not. So you want to make sure that those letters of recommendation arrive before January 8th. And so make sure that your letter of recommendation is somebody that can speak to you as about your STEM interests, that can speak about your STEM passion and your STEM commitment to do to pursue this kind of programs. So yeah, 2 letters of recommendation, and they all need to be together submitted all together on January 8th. Each national lab has a different method of placing students. And so that's something that either they do a direct placements or they allow mentors to go into the pool and select. Regardless of the method, I would recommend a couple of things. Contact folks. So, folks at the national labs are accessible, they're friendly. They will, if you read something about somebody else about in their website, just reach out to them. Give your name, tell them who you are, what your interests are. As was mentioned earlier, tell them that you applied to SULI or CCI and ask them if they will be actually hosting students in the summer or spring or fall. That's a great way to make that connection. I also suggest that have a trusted faculty, mentor, or teacher to go over your essay to make sure that the essay is clear and convey what you want to say in what you want to share with the mentors. And your letters of recommendation, the system is not set in a way that sets automated reminders. So you have to go in and really check those letters of recommendation because there are two things that will remove a student or will not allow the student to move forward in the selection, meaning that doesn't go into the selection dashboard. It's either the transcript has a PII or they don't have the letters of recommendations are not submitted in full. So talk to your professors, let them know ahead of time that you intend to apply to these internships. And so they are aware and they can submit a letter of recommendation on time. These internships are quite competitive. Each national lab has a number of spots that they are able to support. So again, reach out, go to our web pages of each lab and find out the science that we do. And I recommend that you read them. And so you can find an internship that aligns to what your interests are. And you have a support here at Sage. And so if you have any questions, reach out to your Sage mentor. If you have any questions, you can also email me and I'll be glad to help you with the application process. One of the last things that I want to add is that on the WDTS site for both SULI and CCI, if you go into the tab and how to apply, you will find that we have we are sharing pre-recorded sessions of webinars and how to submit your application for each of the programs. We have tools or checklists that are quite helpful in keeping you track to make sure that all your requirements are submitted in time for the application process. So this is all I have. I think that's the last slide. I don't remember. And so I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Leila. Thank you. That was very, very good. And thank you for taking the time to explain those 2 programs that are really available in a lot of labs. So make sure you check them out. So in these slides that is full of things, as you can see from the title, that is disappeared. There are all the links of all the student programs in the national labs. So it is something that we're gonna send to you. You find it also on the mysagejourney.org website under internships. So these are the links that you can find there. Questions. It's time for questions. We love all the questions that you ask in the chat. We try to answer all of this. but I'm pretty sure there are many more, and we have all our speakers available to talk about it. So please ask. It's now your time to ask for question.
Julia, can I add something that is very specific to our
Yes.
students?
Absolutely.
Scientific research has shown that women, we tend to be very shy when applying for jobs and internships and things like that. Sometimes if the job ad says that we need to have knowledge on preferential knowledge of machine learning or whatever, we say, oh, I don't, so I'm not going to apply. And that's how very often we lose opportunities. So I strongly encourage you all to pay attention to the eligibility. There are some strict eligibility requirements, like being a US citizen or being a permanent resident or being a certain age or living in a certain area. But there are other things that are desired. And even if you don't have that desired knowledge or quality, you should still apply. Don't be shy. And the second thing I want to add is don't recycle your cover letters. Write a cover letter for every job ad or internship you apply to. Pay attention. As Elena seconded in the chat, we can tell who is reusing and recycling these cover letters. The cover letter is the way for a potential mentor to not have to go through all your transcripts and to learn who you are. So if you're applying for a coding internship and you are talking about algae and bio things that have nothing to do with coding, you are at a disadvantage. So target your cover letters to the specific job ads.
Julia, if I may add something to follow what Anna said, it comes to the application of Sulin. So in the part of the application, ask you for your skills, right? So just, if you had a class and you learned to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm a biologist by training, and you learn how to do PCR, or you learn how to do gel electrophoresis or solvent, whatever those skills are, make sure that you write those on your application. Often than not, those things are not mentioned or are interpreted as that they're not important, right? If I took a class on how to do coding of X, Y, and Z, because that is a section that is part of the application. So let's just not sell ourselves short and not add those pieces on the application, because mentors will look at them. And you have to look at these opportunities about not necessarily do I know everything, but these are the things that I bring to the table, and these are the things that I have learned, and this is what I learned, and this is what I can, how can what I know can support the research that you're doing. And I forgot to mention, and Anna remind me of that.
Absolutely. And back to checklist, back to do your due diligence, read the description of the program and make sure that you apply to exactly that program, write about the program, understand what the program requires, and use also all the tips that Genevieve shared in this at the beginning of this webinar, because they were extremely useful, and you have an insider on somebody that did it already 2 times, and so she knows how it works and what you can boost your possibility to be selected for an internship if you follow that. Any other question?
I wanted to jump in really quickly. I got a direct message question, so I wanted to reiterate it to the group. For some of these, especially the high school internships at Berkeley Lab, but I believe in other places too, people have the tendency when they see that it's virtual or hybrid to kind of overcommit. And so you really need to look at how many days, how many hours that internship is. For example, the experiences and research program That's the traditional internship. That's a job. You are going to be interviewed for it. We are going to look at your resume and everything, and it's a full-time job. And so if we start seeing that you're not making your hours, if you're not meeting with your mentor, and suddenly we find out that you have a second job, you need to be able to either balance your time better, or you need to like learn to commit to the job that you applied for, including an internship. An internship is a job, and sometimes it's a full-time job. So I want to throw that really hard at you guys, because people think it's something that they can just do on the side, when in reality it's not. It's a full-time commitment. So really think about that when you're applying to these things.
It is very important because mentors are dedicating time to you and your project during the summer. They are doing it on top of their normal work. And so they really want to see and they value the students that are dedicating their time. They are growing, they are learning, they are curious, and they spend time doing their project, right? And obviously the internship is not working. There's a lot of classes, there's a lot of professional growth, there's a lot of tour, there's events where you can meet other peers and have fun with them, discover things, have lunch together, meet new people. So it is an overall extremely nice experience, and I'm talking, and most of us talk with experience because we remember we did it and it was great. Sometimes it's life-changing. So we really encourage, and we want to say just make sure that you dedicate your time there. You say, okay, this summer I'm going to spend it there. It's not going to be only work, but certainly when you work, when you're not taking classes, when you not have lunches with your peers, you need to demonstrate that you are engaged and you're curious about it and you want to learn. And if you're taking other 3 classes during the summer in college, it's not going to work. And we have seen a lot of people that either had a breakdown or failed in one of the things because we kind of multitask. So it's a commitment, but it's really, really rewarding.
And I want to add that so in 2024, we had 32 students from a passage camp that were interns at the laboratory at Los Alamos. Some of those students, it was not their first internship. The first internship year when they were in high school, mine is, it was, for example, on engineering, and they want to go into bio. It's okay, because they got a foot inside the laboratory, and that internship allowed them, when they went into bio, into college and bio, to find a group within the laboratory to do bio. So don't be too upset if you want to be a space lawyer. We had a student that wanted to be a space lawyer, right? And it was she was in high school. Well, it's very hard to get an internship with the lawyers when you are 16 or 17, right? It was easier to start with something that we could find an internship, and now she's working for an astrophysics scientist at the laboratory. So she's doing something, right? The astro part. So take it as you are learning skills. You are learning how to be professional and how to move within. You have a foot in the laboratory. You can share with your mentor, hey, I might have few hours during the school year, if you have them, if you have the availability, and then maybe you are a year-long student. Always convey with your mentor. Your mentor is your helper, and your sage point of contact in the laboratory are your helpers. Another student started again with an engineering, and she's going into education, right? So now that she's in college and so on, we managed to find her an internship in the community outreach program that is more aligned with what she is interested in. But in the past years, she was an intern and getting a paycheck in the summer. So there's a lot that you gain from those internships. So don't be shy.
And as we said at the beginning, it's also important to understand what you don't like. because it's better to understand it during the internship that maybe engineering is not for you, but you like physics, or you like more like biology, or you like more, you know, applied science or something, then you know, going to heading directly to a job and saying, oh, I don't like that one, and you're already, you know, into 2 years doing that job, and then it's a little, I mean, it's not impossible, obviously. We have learned, everybody has participated to the SAGE camp, have listened to a lot of talks, and the path is not linear. It's not linear. You can change many times ideas, but one of the, you need to take the steps in that path, and internship is one of the steps. Okay, we want to leave it to you. If you have other questions that we can answer, either write it in the chat or raise your hand. Anything? I think you really asked a lot of questions during all the talks, during the speakers, and we try to answer all of those. We hope you enjoyed this internship webinar. This webinar about internship. Please remember, there is a second webinar coming up with more internship and more information. This is Saturday, October 19. Look at the dates depending on your time zone. Part 2, paid internship on Saturday, October 19. This recording is going to be available on YouTube. Follow us on social media to know more about it and know more about internship. And we're going to see you next week. Thank you, everyone.